Or I feel like we've made steps from that. I think we're better than last year. More experienced team, guys that are coming back. Defensive assignments become easier, rotations become easier. You're used to the lineups you're playing with. We have a lineup that can switch a lot, so that helps. Obviously, with Lampkin in the middle there, that makes it tougher. It's a big dude. But I do think, watching the film back, I think we had a lot of good possessions, but ultimately it came down to securing the rebound, and that's just something we didn't do. Like against Clemson, I don't know. I think we out-rebounded about 15.
Yeah.
And that's a big team too. And then TCU, we just didn't have that same pop, and that's on us. I mean, there's no other way to put it. So we'll be better with that because we know it's a huge key for us. I mean, when we dominate the glass and don't turn the ball over, we're gonna win most of the time.
Do you think you guys have to score a lot of points to win games? I know tempo-wise it looked like they kind of kept the score down. But you guys have shown in the past you can win those games too.
Yeah, no, I think we can win the ugly games too. I think it goes without saying scoring helps, and normally we're gonna be like, I think we will be one of the higher scoring offenses, a really high efficiency on offense. But bottom line is we didn't make shots in Florida as a whole. We didn't make shots against Clemson. Won that one ugly, which helped, and then we didn't make shots against TCU, and they got us. In that stretch where they went on that huge run in the second half, it's a lot of missed shots. I feel like we were getting some pretty good shots, but again, that's where it goes back to turnovers. Even if we're getting good shots, we got a chance to get them back on the glass, which we did a lot better job of in the second half against TCU. But when you're turning it over, there's no margin for error there, and that's why 15 is way out of character for us, and we got to be better with that, and I think we will. I think that's I'm chalking that up as kind of an anomaly for the year.
I was going to say that's got to be the most frustrating part of that is you did make those turnovers and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
The way you guys play.
No, exactly. It was looking back at that game, because even in the first half, like we had so many uncharacteristic turnovers, we were still only down 2. So, if you take the turnovers away, we really did play pretty well in the first half, minus the start, which needs to be better. But we got back in it, and we're right there. But then we couldn't get over the hump because we'd get a stop and we'd get some breakaways, but then we'd make a weird turnover that we normally don't do. And I can count all the high turnover games in my career. I can remember because they're so. It just doesn't feel right. You're missing out. There's so many empty possessions you're missing out on. And so I think in that game, and credit to TCU, they cranked up the pressure. But I do think a lot of them were also kind of unforced errors that were, just lapses on our part. And those are things that you can correct and adjust, and I think we will. Early season turnover numbers are usually higher earlier in the season for around the country. That's just the bottom line. So, I don't see it being a problem for us moving on at all.
Patrick, struggled in the second game, had a great first game, and then might be close to career high in points. Chris didn't shoot well, but they've been around the block. They're experienced. Is it one of those things where do you even say anything to them, or do you just know that they're going to be able to come back stronger than just based on the performances?
Yeah, no, I'll say something to them, just just see where their head's at. I won't be like, hey, I know you sucked, but be better. I'm not going to say that, but I'll check in on them, see where their head's at. Make sure, how you feeling? Patrick, make sure he's still confident. Chris, make sure everything's good. And for the most part, it's always going to be, and I'm not talking about just after last game, just as a whole. I'll check in and be how you feeling? Where's your head? Still confident? Great, move on. Won't even say a word. You get a response okay, now you open the casket, and that's when you really dig deep and get into it.
Sure.
And that's when I'll try to gas them up a little bit and make sure they're recovering the way that they should be. Because they both feel like they saw some defensive coverages that Patrick in the first game played really well, moving without the ball. I felt like he kind of ran out of gas in that second game. He didn't have that same energy and pop that he did in the first game, running up and down the court. And
sure.
Chris, I think, again, normally he's going to shoot better than 4 for 17, and I don't even know what he was against TCU. I know it wasn't good. He's going to be better than that almost every game the rest of the year. I would feel a pretty safe bet on that. So I don't think it's anything to read into, and I'm not going to harp on him with it. I'm just going to let them play their game. At this point, they're experienced, like you said. Treat them like pros. Move on. Next game mentality. Not anything to worry about too much.
Ulis and Bowen seem to really both be emerging.
Mm-hmm.
How would you evaluate where they've come
Yeah, no, they both were great. And I mean, Sante really pushes the ball, and it's fun to play with him because he's always in attack mode. And you know, I try to sound like he's learning so fast every single day, and I think that's what's so good to see with him is he's just picking things up at such a speed. Like you know, even you look at games or the game before, like I feel like he's getting better every single play, every half he's picking things up. And so I think with guys like that, you almost want to get out of the way and let them learn on themselves. Like just let them be. And in AU, I think he's just becoming a much more confident player. And you know, I don't know if that's because he's getting more significant minutes now. I don't know if he's playing better in practice, which he is. Like he always has been a good practice player. I don't know what it is that clicked for him in his head, but he's just really confident and he's really playing well. And we know that, so we're gonna ride with him and feed him the ball, trust him as our point guard, and just kind of keep following his lead.
Connor, I don't think we've talked to you since the last home game. Before that, I know you put out a tweet about
Yeah.
about the crowd.
I did not mean anything bad, but I swear to God, that thing blew up crazy. I did not. It was not a dig. I know everyone's saying that, but no, it was not meant that way. We've had good crowds, bad crowds. Sorry, continue.
No.
Go ahead.
I know, like I said, drew a mixed reaction from a lot of other in-state programs, but I think a lot of people didn't realize you had to play Omaha because they're part of the Emerald Coast Classic too,
yeah.
which I don't think people really realize that.
Yeah.
But I guess I was surprised just about the amount of different fan bases within the state. I guess I don't think we've ever asked you, how do you feel about Drake, you and I potentially playing them or not?
Yeah, well, first of all, like I mean, seriously, like I had no bad intention with that tweet at all. Like we've had great crowds, bad crowds. It does not, like I never question our fan base, like ever. I mean, we have a loyal fan base, and they come out for the big ones, the little ones. I mean, it was just, it was more of like a call to action, like, hey, we got our next games are Georgia Tech, Wisconsin, or Iowa State, Wisconsin, in that order. Like, we got to have an atmosphere. That was all I was trying to say. But I realized shortly thereafter that it was taken the wrong way. You see, like, I mean, I saw Iowa State fans, like, kind of poking fun, like, that I tweeted, but, like, I've seen their crowds when they play early games, too, and it's not like they're any great shakes either. And but then you see, like, the UNI and Drake people speaking up, and I mean, like, oh, play us then. Like, that's fine. I get that. But it just really, like, I have friends on UNI. I have friends on Drake. And they have great programs. Both of them have been really good. But the bottom line is it just doesn't do anything for us. It really does. Like, for the rest of the country looking in, you and I could have AJ Green, Jeremy Morgan, Seth Tuttle, like go down. They could have the all UNI All-Star team, or they could have 5 managers playing. And the rest of the country, like, they don't really know. Like, if they see UNI beats Iowa, they think the same thing. Outside of the state, like, it's the same, like, they don't understand. And so that's why, like, for us, like, obviously it'd be a big win if we beat that UNI All-Star team, but then if we beat the managers, it doesn't, it's just a different game. And it's just, like, for us, I think it does just more for us when we go and play Duke in the Garden. Obviously it does more for us in that respect. We play the challenges. We go to Seton Hall. We play Georgia Tech. Like, these games, they don't hurt us as much if we lose them, and they're more of a win-win versus kind of like a lose-lose. And when it really comes down to it, I mean, you look like Iowa State doesn't play them either. There's a reason Iowa State doesn't play. It's just the way it is. Like, it's not they're both great programs and they have great players. It just doesn't do a whole lot for us in terms of our resume once you really break it down and get down to it. I think
It's more so branding, essentially.
yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's a tough. Like, we used to play the games and it was fun. We played in that Hy-Vee Classic. I played in that, and it was a while ago. Like, I played in that, and that created some buzz for a little bit. But then, like, all of a sudden, Iowa State loses to Drake or we lose to UNI, and the sky is falling, and that's kind of just the way that it goes. And like I said, you and I could have the best team they had in 20 years, or they could have the worst team, and we lose. It means the same thing. It doesn't. I don't know. It just is. It's a different type of game, and the in-state rivalry and the Super Bowl for a lot of people that it creates, I guess, is I enjoy it being from Iowa, but I don't think it it creates the same type of buzz for the guys we have that aren't from Iowa. But you know, it's always a hard balance kind of dealing with that, because I mean I see all the stuff from the people and I get it, but it doesn't really like move the needle. Like, we're gonna play, if we have the opportunity to play Duke or UNI, we're gonna play Duke. It's just that simple. And this, you know, I think if UNI had the opportunity to play us or Duke, I think they're choosing Duke as well. I think it's the same. Like I think it's the same. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they would go with that choice.